There you go. Can't hear you. I see your video is on, but your audio is not. Okay. And while she's waiting, John, can you please introduce yourself, please?
Sure. Good morning, everyone. My name is John Argana. Actually, kind of like odd one in the group. I am working as a virtual assistant for Sean, and I work for her and her husband in American Commodity or A Commodity. And she asked me to join this class today to get more information about the overview of federal procurement, which is mostly the job that I'll be doing for them once I got trained. So, yeah, nice to meet everyone here.
Okay. Okay. And that was with who? Sean?
Yes, Sean and Myron.
Okay. And you're located where?
Oh, right now I'm physically located in the Philippines, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Well,
Yeah,
welcome. Thank you.
thank you.
All right. Anthony, please introduce yourself and give us a little information on your background and how did you hear about us and where you're located.
My name is Anthony Evans. I'm located in Gwinnett, Georgia, Gwinnett County, Georgia. I have an EHS background. I'm a regional EHS manager. I heard about the program while I attended Georgia Tech for my master's degree at OSHA. And I'm trying to get into government contracting.
Okay. And you said you heard about us how?
Through the Georgia Tech procurement program.
Okay. All right. Well, welcome. We have Mr. Hooker on the line. Mr. Hooker, can you introduce yourself?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning. How you doing?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. My name is Al Hooker. I'm in McDonough, Georgia. I'm a realtor, have a transportation background. I got my hands in a little bit of everything. So I like to keep myself.
And how'd you hear about us?
I did the government contracting for real estate professionals, CE course. And the way I found it, I was just strolling through Eventbrite and I seen it and I seen government contracting and real estate professional. And I said, this got to be for me. And I clicked on it. I went, did the class and everything. It was amazing. And when you got to the end, I was like, I wonder, does she have like a program or a training or something like that? And you have it. So I'm here and I'll be there next week. Already paid in full, ready to go.
Okay, good, great. Glad you're able to join us. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for everything.
All right, in the door, I believe that's Mr. Myers. Can you please introduce yourself? You have to unmute. All right, we have a chat. All right, Miss Kendra, you can introduce yourself.
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me now?
I can.
Awesome. My name is Kendra Battle. I have a background in ITSM. So I work for a data center right now, but I am looking at moving out of the data center. I've been in IT and in the service management space for about 13 years now. I went to a NCMA event here in Atlanta, and I met a gentleman that I was speaking to. My husband works with him because he comes from he's a contracting officer, first with the VA. He was just promoted to a program manager in the CDC. And I was introduced to this gentleman at this event, and he mentioned Miss Paula. And I reached out to see if it was okay if I said hello. And probably by the end of that call, I was convinced that the class was for me. So I'm super excited to see where this goes, because I really believe that we are gathering this information to be a blessing to the community, building generational wealth. and legacy. So thank you for having me, Ms. Paula.
Welcome, welcome. Thank you, thank you. All right, Tatum, could you please introduce yourself? How'd you hear about us? Where are you located?
So I'm Tatum Hood. I'm currently located in Rockwall, Texas, which is a suburb of Dallas. My background is real estate. I've been a real estate agent since 2006. So I'm a broker in Georgia, where I'm originally from, and those licenses are inactive, but they're still there. And I'm also an agent here in Dallas, well, Texas. How I heard about you was, I call it divine intervention. I was searching something on YouTube, and one of your videos came up as a suggested video. So I'm like, what is this? So I watched it, and that 1 hour and a half video turned into me watching 4 more hour-long videos. So that's when I reached out to you through Facebook, and I'm like, I have got to understand what is it that you do, and you forwarded me to your website. So that's how I'm here today.
Oh, well, welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, you guys. I really appreciate you taking the time out this morning. Sierra McKay.
Hi, yeah, I'm Sierra McCray, and I am located in Las Vegas. My background is engineering. I'm a consultant now, and what brought me to the course, so similar to Tatum, I was on YouTube, I was searching. I had heard about government contracts. I actually had a couple friends that were doing contract work, but they weren't running a government contract business. So I decided to watch the video. I watched several videos. I'm like, okay, this sounds like something I want to get into. And so I did a little more digging, and I'm like, yeah, I think this is something I can definitely do. I work full-time as a W-2, but ultimately I'd love to become a full-time entrepreneur. And I think government contracting is definitely an opportunity that will be a fit for what I'm looking for.
I'm so excited. Folks, and that I'm old school. I don't know nothing about social media. So whatever God's doing, he's pulling it through the news feed. So I'm very appreciative of that. Is that Manil? How do you pronounce your first name?
Yeah, no worries. My name is Sean McNeil. My full name is Dashawn, but I go by Sean, and it's still crazy to pronounce because of the spelling.
Okay.
But good morning, everyone. I'm out of Orlando, Florida, and I'm actually electrical engineering manager for a big DoD defense company. And I also own my own real estate brokerage. And so I've been in a real estate broker, and I have about 13 agents for quite some time now. And then I just recently branched out Tatum. I opened an office in Georgia, but I'm really here because my husband ran into you, Ms. Paula, at NARAB, and you were talking about government contracts. And I had just completed my women-owned small business certification and the WBENC certification, because it comes together. So I am here because I've been on that government website looking at the contracts. I do not know how to get started. So I'm struggling with the process on first steps and so forth. And so I need help and direction, and I am here. So thank you.
Well, welcome. That warms my heart. Everybody's at least hearing. What is it about this government contract? Mr. Myers, please introduce yourself.
Good morning. I'm Jerry Myers. First of all, very glad to be here. Thank you, Paula, for the invite. I met Paula a few years ago at a community event at New Birth Church in DeKalb County. So really glad to be a part of this. A little bit about my story. I've been providing services to the government for a couple of years, more state and local. We recently embarked on getting our 8A, in which we completed that. So now we're 8A contractor and looking to step into the federal market space. So we're really glad to be here, and thank you very much for having me.
No, welcome. Thank you. I love it. We on the move here, y'all. We're not playing. iPhone. Who's on the iPhone? The phone number 678 825. Please introduce yourself.
I'm sorry, Ms. Paula, that's me. I have to use my cell phone.
Oh, okay, no worry. Ms. Samuels, Nicole, welcome. Please introduce yourself.
Good morning, if you guys can hear me.
Yes, ma'am.
My name is Nicole. I'm located in Austin, Texas, and I own a small business catering company. So I'm here to learn.
Okay, thank you. How'd you hear about us?
It was through Mr. Malik Yoba advertised it one day last week.
Okay, yeah, I treat him the same way. He's going through the program. I still ask about his homework. So very good. And we have Miss Hurt, who's a current student, joining us this morning. So thank you, Miss Hurt. Can you share some words of wisdom? Because you're just currently in the first module.
Yes, good morning. Thank you, Miss Paula. I am with the Teach at the Beach October class.
Oh, yeah.
And I would just say stay the course, you know, keep up with your coursework, treat it just like you're doing a college course. You know, you invested in it and it's definitely worth your while. And I've already, you know, gotten registered and I've started bidding on contracts to kind of get my feet wet using all the tools Miss Paula has provided, and she hasn't steered me wrong.
That's right. Because again, my goal is that I want the competition should not be amongst us. It should be amongst who win the first contract in 2023. And with us collectively pooling our resources together, that's how we win. I look at this as these 13 people, it's a contract. You get a little piece, I get a little piece. Eventually we all get a piece of the pie. And it's changing our mindset and helping us to understand that we're more powerful collectively. So I'm all about us understanding the power of teaming, understanding how we get into the game, and you cannot do this by yourself. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and jump right into the PowerPoint presentation this morning. And again, welcome. And let me get to the top. All right. All right, we are the innovative solutions to government contracting. I will consistently say we have a short window between now and the next election. And what I've consistently seen in this administration, he's making it as easy as possible and giving us the resources and the tools to make sure we can get into this game. Just based on this executive order, which was issued in 2021, his goal, or the administration's goal, is to make sure they increased the goal to 15% of contracts going to small disadvantaged businesses by 2025. And what they've done, which I like, is that they identified a specific area where they were seeing these agencies awarding these contracts using this category called category management. And they said, no, you all have been using this category to award the contracts to the same players. And they said, no, we're not going to do that anymore. And we're going to monitor that category first to make sure you're bringing in new businesses to play in this space. So I will consistently say, this is our time. I always like to go into my background so that you can understand the perspective that I'm coming from. I think I'm unique because I played on both sides of this space, meaning my first job out of college in DC was with a company that was a part of the 8A program doing event planning. I ended up attaching myself to one contract, and every 3 years, I went with the contract to a new 8A company that was a part of the 8A program. I ended up going through 6 companies before I decided to take the middleman out and created my first entity in 1996. The first year in business, I received my first $1 million contract. Second year, I applied into the 8A program and received my second $3 million contract. And I continued to grow the business pretty quickly, where I won close to $15 million in contracts and had almost 40 employees. And that's where the challenge began, because I really didn't have a clue what I was doing. The government was awarding me millions of dollars of contracts. I couldn't even read a profit and loss statement. I didn't know how I was making money. I had 2 business partners. One, which I'll just say was just crazy, who felt like he could run all his personal expenses through the business. And the last straw for me was a $3,000 customized pinstripe suit with his initials going down the pinstripe. Like, you have lost your mind. And I had my assistant to do an audit on the credit card, and he takes her in the elevator and threatens her. That's when I really began to understand my true role as a CEO. After he threatened her, I terminated him. He then conspired with 2 employees, one of which he was having an affair with, to sue me and the other partner for sexual harassment. After 2 years of attorney fees, $125,000 in attorney fees, $100,000 to buy him out, I no longer had any operating cash, and I transferred $7 million of my contracts to another company, 8A company. But it taught me many lessons, and I was passionate to make sure that my community understand how to manage a business on this level. So I volunteered for 2 years in the Washington, D.C. office as a sport counselor. I was the first Black female in that office, and actually the youngest female. I'm very strategic. So for 2 years, I counseled as a sport counselor, which is a resource partner of SBA. Ran out of money, applied for a position at SBA, and I was hired in the Philadelphia district office. That office was the office that actually processed all of the 8A applications. So it gave me the time to get to know those players and start asking questions. Why are you denying them? What are you looking for? What are you truly looking for? But my position was to service the businesses once they got into the program as a business opportunity specialist. After 4 years there, I wanted to relocate closer to my home in North Carolina. I relocated here to Atlanta. And while I was in Atlanta at this district office, they required that we become certified as a contract specialist. And for me, that was the missing piece, meaning I'd run a business for 10 years. I worked for SBA for 7 years, understood their rules and regulations, but I really wasn't quite sure what steps the federal agencies took to actually put that solicitation together for you to compete on that contract. So that's what the certified contract specialist role did. 2015, I decided to leave SBA and understand what the missing parts was and the challenges for businesses entering into this space. I've trained more than 10,000 businesses on how to market to the federal government. And actually, I need to update, I have assisted small businesses to win over $300 million in contracts across various industries. Last year, I self-published a book called That's Crazy, Recognize Crazy and Run. The names have been changed to protect the innocent, but it kind of sort of documents what I went through in that first business and many lessons learned so that you don't have to walk into the fire that I walked in. So what are the small business challenges entering in this space? What I found while working at SBA, people will come down and we'll give them a workshop, we will give them information. Everyone's so excited when they leave, but they're not quite sure what to do with all that information. And it's the same thing with the agencies. No one really understands how to connect the dots. And I will consistently say, unless you've worked on the inside of SBA, no one understands their rules and their processes. So what are the barriers for small businesses entering in this space? Understanding the government language, understanding the government processes, understanding how to determine what certifications are required. Once you determine what certifications are required, well, how do I complete the application and what types of supporting documentation will be required? Also understanding everyone operates in a vacuum, meaning SBA doesn't talk to GSA, everybody has their own databases, so it really becomes confusing for those entering into this space. Based on that information, I created this program primarily on lessons learned at SBA, in that first business, and what I knew was missing at SBA and their resource partners. No one was combining the business side with the rules and regulations. And so in that first business, I started marketing my business as an event planning company. And my mentor pulled me aside and asked me, why are you pigeonholing yourself? And when he said that, it made perfect sense based on the six companies I had gone through and looking at those that were successful and what business model they were using. And in actuality, everyone was doing the same thing. So I changed my business model from an event planning company to a management consulting firm, and I created divisions. I had an event planning division, I had an IT division, I had a publication division, had a database division. Once I created those divisions, I started getting contracts in those areas because most people will start their business on their skill set. A lot of SBA's resource partners will tell you, stay in your lane. You can't really compete with the federal, start locally and at the state. And I just disagree with that. So in our first module, which is entitled Business Ready, we help you to do the market research and create a business model that I know is sustainable based on my first business and based on what I saw in servicing those businesses at SBA. Second, collaboration is key in this space. The SBA's programs and these contracts often require you to collaborate. What I realized, although they're requiring you to collaborate, no one is teaching us how to collaborate. So in our second module, Government Ready, we put you into teams, and at this stage, we're the government. You have team projects and team deliverables, and you have to understand it's so much easier to collectively work together and pull our skill sets together to go after the $100 million contract. It's about us understand the power of collaboration. Third, you must have your infrastructure in place to support these contracts. Does anyone know what I mean by infrastructure? Anybody?
Yes, Paula, when you say infrastructure, my first thought is having your team together, whether it's HR, IT, management professionals in place, just people that can be able to handle these contracts as you obtain them.
Yes, more importantly, you heard I just got sued. The accountant and your attorney. And in this space, you're dealing with you have to have an accounting system that's set up specifically for government contracts, and you need to understand what's in that accounting system. If any of you are currently in your business full-time and you do not have employment practice liability insurance,
What time you on?
EPLI, employment
Okay.
practice liability insurance. That's an insurance that's outside of your general business insurance. And it's not an E&O, it's not errors and omission. You have to specifically ask for that. Had I had that insurance, that would have covered my internal lawsuit and the partnership buyout. Everyone got that?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning. This is Sean again, Ms. Paula. What if
Yes.
we have an umbrella insurance? Does that work the same or no, ma'am?
No, ma'am. I had an
Okay.
umbrella insurance, and when those attorney bills started hitting, and I went to the insurance company, oh no, we don't cover that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So, does anyone know when the government's fiscal year starts and ends? Anybody have any idea when does the fiscal year start? And when does it
Is
end?
it
October?
October?
There you go, October 1st through September 30th. So for you as a small business, there's a peak time that you want to get in front of these agencies, and then there's a peak bidding time. Because what happens in the government is that oftentimes, and you hear it on the news, they're fighting about the budget, and so often it's delayed. And these agencies are operating on what they call a continuing resolution, meaning they have a limited budget. Once that budget is passed, and generally January, February, it takes time to filter through. That's this is the time that you're trying to get in front of their face so that they know you're there. Because once they get the budget, by April, May, it's Christmas season beginning. They're trying to get rid of the money. They're not trying to talk to you at that time. So I'm very strategic in helping their businesses understand how to position themselves before that time. Why federal contracts? As I stated in the executive order, the federal government has goals, meaning 23% of their contracts are set aside for small businesses, 5% are set aside for women-owned, 5% for small disadvantaged businesses, 3% if you're service disabled, and 3% for hub zone businesses. And so what does that really mean? SBA keeps a scorecard on how these agencies actually do as it relates to meeting these goals, and they post it on their website to to embarrass them, because it's just a goal. So over here, you can see what they did in 2020. They haven't posted the data for 2021 yet. And you can see how much money was awarded in each of the programs, and where they didn't meet their goals. So some of the strategy we teach may be identifying those agencies that didn't meet their goals in these set-aside programs, specifically if you fall within those programs. So goals, what does it really mean? Let's say the agency awards you a contract for $100,000 and you're a small business. Now that agency gets $100,000 credit towards their goal. So if you're also a woman-owned business, now that agency gets $200,000 credit towards their goal. So the more certifications you have, the more you're helping the agency meet their goals. This is another strategy in collectively pooling our resources together. Whatever certification I don't have, I'm going to team with someone that has that certification. It's all about collaboration and understanding how to collectively work together. For this program specifically, because this is a program to my heart, and this is a program that I know works. I grew up in it in DC. And so I pulled some of the data from this website, and we'll visit it shortly, so that you can get a general idea of the types of dollars that are being awarded in this program, as well as the industries that the dollars are being awarded in this program. So what we teach as part of the strategy is shaping a business model around the dollars. Because again, you're managing a business. If you're working in that business, you can never grow that business. So you have to understand how to set your business up and make sure that you position yourself for your contracts, specifically for this program. Last year, the OIG, Office of Inspector General, issued this report. And I'm always about the data. And here, what you see is almost only 5,000 businesses nationally in this program. This program is for us. You can also see the amount of dollars that went into this program to those firms. So if you think about the 34 billion with the 4,900, how many was really, they made a lot of money with limited competition. And then they were awarded 11 billion in sole source award, and we'll talk about that shortly. So again, it's us getting these certifications and really not understanding how to leverage. This report also demonstrated the story that I felt while I was working at in Atlanta's office, meaning, let me see if you all can look at this and tell me, what are you seeing? Anybody? Is anybody seeing anything?
Yes, ma'am. I see Georgia has the largest amount of sole source awards to primes.
No, ma'am.
Nope.
Look at this box over here and over here. What this story is telling you is, based on the data that I got from this database, Georgia 8A firms are only getting 30% of the pie. And I knew that. You have 70% of the contracts coming from businesses outside of Georgia in this program. And you only have, right now it's probably about 200 firms in this particular program. So up in DC, it's 1,700 firms. They come here and there's no competition. There's no competition. And what federal agencies are located here, someone? Here in Georgia.
The CDC, I know is one of them, correct?
Yeah, and you have 5 military bases. So whatever state that you're in, wherever there's a military base, wherever there's a federal courthouse, there's a government contract. But we just don't understand the game. And again, I talked about me holding this position while at SBA. People that get their certifications think this position is supposed to help you, but there's not enough people. There was no way. I had about 40 businesses I was servicing. There was no way that I could help you in this program. So right now, everybody's having to learn on their own. And so what I tell businesses here in Georgia, go across state line. in Alabama, the entire state of Alabama, they're only telling me there's 58 minority-owned businesses that are qualified into that program. No competition. And I pulled, what states were actually coming to the state of Alabama and running contracts. We've got to get into the game. And I did.
Oh, sorry. I was trying to understand a little bit more of these percentages. So when I'm looking at these charts, for instance, like for Florida, when you're saying the 37%, is that saying 37% that is in the 8A program was awarded and then the 63% was not in the program?
No, what I'm saying is, let me go back to my home state here. I'm saying 30% of contracts were awarded to businesses that were in this program in the state of Georgia. So 30% of the 172 firms, what does that add up to, somebody? Put that down in numbers. How many businesses out of the 172 actually received contract awards? The other 70% were from businesses coming from out of state winning contracts here in Georgia.
Gotcha.
51, 52 businesses.
That's so small.
Out of the 172, come on. Something's wrong, y'all agree?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
So this was Alabama, this was Florida, and Florida primarily, I would say, is dominated by the Latino community, and they understand the game. So they have 2 district offices with this amount of businesses in the program in Florida. And again, all of this is public information. This is the website where you actually go and look for opportunities. And why I consistently say that start at the top and come down, what they tend to do in our community is tell us to go get all your E's. You got the WBE, DBE, MBEs, EEEs. I don't really like those E's because most of those E's, specifically with the DBE, majority of the time you're going to be a subcontractor. You don't know how much money they have when you, and the competition is larger because you're competing with everyone in your state. Whereas on the federal side, I don't have to be in that location to win a contract. And the competition is smaller. You're generally only competing with 2 or 3 businesses on specific opportunities. They don't have enough small businesses competing on these contracts. This is an example of an opportunity that I pulled that was early in the summer. So looking at it, because I had a lot of real estate agents, when you look at the real estate industry, you can see this is a total small business set aside, and they put it under this particular industry code. When you're looking at this particular opportunity, who would I be identifying? You're building a team. So you're pulling, and most of you in the real estate industry, you're working with attorneys, you're working with specific industries that allows you to put them in as part of your team. This particular opportunity that was in Alabama, this is what they call a request for information. This is the government initially trying to determine, do we have any small businesses that are out here that can perform on this particular opportunity? If so, and if we get enough response from this opportunity, we'll set it aside for small businesses. And so when you look at exactly what they're asking for in this opportunity, what are they asking for someone? And how would you go about responding? That's a question.
So
Anybody?
it looks like they're asking for some files to be inventoried and scanned and organized and then destroyed. So I guess you'd have to get together some contractors that are able to perform those tasks, and you'd probably respond to the request stating why you're qualified for the contract.
Go. There you go. That's why we have to get out of our own way. We've been trained to be laborers. The whole system is designed for you to work for someone else. And that's been the hardest and biggest shift for a lot of the business owners that I've trained over the years, is understanding I don't really have to know anything about that contract to win. My goal is to find the teams with the skill set to perform on those contracts, and then I'm making my money on top of them. Am I preaching to y'all this morning? Can I get an amen from the church?
Amen, Miss Paula.
Amen.
The same thing with catering. This was opportunity for catering. What would I do? It's in California. I'm in Georgia. Based on the scope of work, what are they looking for? This is the low-hanging fruit. What would you do, someone?
I guess reach out to a local caterer in the area and have them submit a bid for the meals that's needed per day and how many days, and if they can actually perform. If they can, they submit a proposal to us and we take it to the federal government and add our fees on top.
There you go. That's the name of the game. Because in this space, what I tell businesses to do is start with these types of buys. These are called RFQs, requests for quotes. The government specifically set aside these type of opportunities for small businesses. This is the low-hanging fruit. I had a student that started her business in 2020, and her background really was IT, business processing. And her first contract was replacing an HVAC system in Texas. She's here in Georgia. You can go to my business tube and look at her video. So it's understanding you're managing the business, not working in it. So how do we play in this space? You first can self-certify in this database, sam.gov. This is still a horrible database. This came out when I was still working with the government, and we always called it such a mess, and it's still a mess. But you can self-certify as a small business, veteran-owned, service disabled, and small disadvantage. Actually, I'm going to put that under this scenario because they've now transferred this program onto SBA, where you are now getting formally certified in these programs. The 8A program, which is a business development program, and that's designed to build your business. The Hub Zone program is designed to build communities, and they just recently, in the last 2 years, started getting women-owned businesses formally certified as well. The veterans started this month. So when I'm looking at the formal certification, the 8A program is primarily based on 2 areas. Whether you're socially and economically disadvantaged, you are in this program for 9 years. While being in this program, it allows you to go after what they call sole source contracts that are up to $4 million in any single award. I do not really push businesses into this program until they won some contracts as a total small business, because what I consistently saw working with these businesses in my portfolio, I was responsible for 40 businesses. Out of the 40 businesses, maybe 5 or 6 were truly active in winning contracts. And that's what I really realized, that no one is teaching you the process or strategy. So hear me now. You're able to get in this program and win contracts up to $4 million with no competition. Can the church say amen?
Amen.
Amen.
Paula, is there a time requirement for the 8A program? So if you're just starting a business, is there a time frame, maybe a couple months? Like once you win a couple bids, you're then eligible for the 8A, or is it?
You can go in under a 2-year waiver, but I don't encourage you to do it. My goal is that when you're ready to apply into this program, you're walking in with guns. There's no lag time in the learning curve. That was the reason I created this program.
Gotcha.
Make sense? The Hub Zone is based on where your business is located. As long as 35% of your employees live in a Hub Zone and your business is located in a Hub Zone, you can qualify for that program as well. For the 8A program, it's based on the social component. You have to be a U.S. citizen and a member of any one of these ethnic groups. However, if you don't belong to any of these ethnic groups and you're able to demonstrate how you've been discriminated against, then you can apply into this program. The economic net worth, SBA is going to look at your tax returns, and if your net worth does not exceed $750,000, minus any equity in your home and in your business, you can qualify into this program. Those of you that are real estate agents, you cannot come into this program as an agent. You will need to change your industry codes to, I encourage agents to go with the 541611 NEXCO Management Consulting. It does not allow brokering. If you have rental property, that's going to be counted against you. Do we have any questions?
Yeah, I have a quick question. So regarding the hub zones, for your business to be in one location and your 35% of the employees to be in that same location,
Yep.
Could you have your business register as a foreign entity in another state and that count? Or is there another way that your location's being
It can, and I'm gonna go into that and show it to you shortly.
Could
okay.
Could
And
you
then I have a
repeat?
second quick
Oh, go
question.
ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean. I didn't. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's no worries. So second question. So if we're looking at different locations to understand who locally may be able to provide those services, is there like a system or database that you're looking at, or is it pretty much like Google, networking, and any other means we might typically use today to find folks doing that type of work?
We're going to go through that shortly.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Thank you.
And someone else just had another question?
Yes. Could you repeat that code? I think it's 501.
541611.
541. Okay.
And Ms. Paula, this is Sean again. Did you say that you can't have investment properties? You said to be in the 8A program.
Can have investment properties, but the equity in those properties will be counted against you.
Okay, I'll go back to the net worth you were mentioning. Okay,
Correct.
got it.
Okay. The other component to this is if you have a record based on that just us system, this allows those who have touched the system to come back out and get into this program. They just cannot be on parole or probation. This is another way for that community to come back and be able to change the dynamics of their community by getting into this program and have access to $1 million of contracts. Again, the Hub Zone, unlike the 8A program, there's no term limit associated with it. You also get the same benefits but different as it relates to sole source contracts. In this program, in order for the agency to award a sole source contract under this program, the women's program, and the veterans program, they have to make sure that there are at least 2 businesses that are qualified to participate, that are qualified to perform on that contract. So what I tell us, this is how we collaborate. Both of you, if you're in the Hub Zone program, have someone else submit on the same response. You cut your deal beforehand. If I win, I subcontract to you. If you win, I subcontract to you. And it's the same thing that I'm getting ready to do on the grant. When I look at grant and contract money, it's still the same process. I am working with other companies, and everybody's responding to the same opportunity, and we're using each other under each other's response, making my chances better. You also get what they call a 10% price evaluation preference, meaning the government's going to add 10% onto someone else's cost that's not a part of the program. Again, your principal office must be in the Hub Zone, and 35% of your employees must live in the Hub Zone. So the question that you asked, I was also the Hub Zone liaison in Philadelphia and here in Georgia. I had an 8A firm. He had a office, his corporate office was in Cobb County, the Gallerina, high end, for you all not familiar with Georgia, high end county. But he had a Hub Zone office in Columbus, Georgia. The reason he was able to get that particular office certified was because he had a contract at Fort Gordon, I'm not sure if that Gordon or Benny, where the greatest number of his employees was reporting to that office. Did that answer your question, Sean?
Yes. I guess my question was, I know with businesses, so if I'm registered in Nevada and I do business in, let's say, Illinois, I can register as like a foreign entity,
Yes.
like another state. So I know in your example, both of those cities are still in Georgia. So if he happened to have
Yes.
his office outside of Georgia, it still would have been okay.
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yes, answer my question. Thank you.
The challenge with this program is this 35%. Always maintaining it. And they do also base it on part-time employees. This is the Hub Zone map. You can scan that QR code, put your address in, and see if you qualify. This program is based on these areas. So the census tract is based on the Census Bureau. You can have counties that are a Hub Zone county. And to me, that's the ideal situation if you have a whole county that's Hub Zone, because now you're going to probably hire from within that county. And then they have Indian reservations. Some of this data will change this summer, or the Hub Zone map will be updated as they continue to navigate through the Census Bureau. The census data. Here is an example for a firm I was presenting to in Philadelphia. You can see, you go across the street and may not be Hub Zone. So it's going to show you whether or not the area you put in is qualified as a Hub Zone. For the women's program, what's so confusing about these databases? SBA really has 3 databases that they use for their program. They use the general login system for the Hub Zone program. And for the 8A program, they use certified.sba.gov. For the women's program, they use wosb.certified.sba.gov. That's why it is confusing. Again, this is the QR code to that site. And they created this program because they knew there were certain industries that women were not getting contracts awards. So you can see they've updated that industry list. For this program, if you certify as an ED, you do not have to go back and certify as a WOSB. This program pretty much mirrors the SBA program as it relates to the economically disadvantaged. They're going to use the same criteria for this program as well. You can certify yourself. You can, if you're one of these certified by the state, they may look at that, your certification under that state entity. You can also go through a third-party certifier. There is a fee associated with that. But I tell everyone in my program, you want to do it yourself. The same thing with the 8A application. Do it yourself because you're still giving them the same information that you will have to do. And a lot of times, I've worked with some businesses, they've hired somebody to do their applications, or they use the third-party certifier. They don't even have their password to get into that database. No, you're giving it away. For this program, you meet must be a small business, and all of these programs require at least 51% ownership. If you have multiple entities going on outside of a host, outside of a holding company where you have properties, that's passive income. I tell you guys not to have all these entities. And again, because I've been working closely with the real estate industry, they were forever having 3 or 4 entities. For me, as a government person looking at your stuff, that's a headache because I have to get copies of anything that your name is attached to. Mr. Myers, you're currently in the 8A. For 9 years, we own you. So anything that you're going to do to that business, you need to make sure it's clear before you execute. They are strictly, that could easily get you terminated. For instance, I had a firm that got into the program. The first year he was okay. The second year he came back, business got slow. So he went and got an investor and gave 5% of his shares to that investor. He was terminated. That's called change of ownership. So anything that you do, I advise you to make sure you run by your specialist. Also, I am not your friend. I act like I'm your friend. There's certain conversations and things that you don't need to tell me. Hello, amen.
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 Again, the veterans program, I'm not going to go in all the details because again, this program just became under SBA as of January. And they are still honoring any of the certifications you've gotten through the VA. Again, you get the same opportunities under this program, and they also have the rule of 2 as it relates to this. But for VA contracts, you all get first priority with the VA contracts. Again, same eligibility requirements. Here, if you are totally disabled, you can designate someone that either a spouse or appoint someone to help you assist in managing that program. Yes, I'm gonna let you all go through that. I'm not gonna take the time to go through every little thing that they've provided. So all of this is being recorded and I'll send it back to you, but you can also, again, go to that website. And do I have any veterans online? No veterans. Okay. Now I want to take you guys to a couple of websites.
I'm a veteran, Miss Paula. Sorry, I had to unmute.
Well, thank you, sir. I want you to go, make sure you go to that veterans program on that code and make sure.
I always say yes, ma'am.
Okay, go ahead and get that certification.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
You're trying to knock out competition. Okay.
Sounds good. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to take you guys to a couple of websites here. This website here, USA Spending. But before I do that, so that you can get a general and a visual idea of how we transform businesses based on one area of your background, but create business model where it's not based on you. She started out as a real estate agent. So we took all the tasks that was associated with that industry and created these divisions. Her very first contract was testing monkeys with HIV at CDC for in the lab. It was a $3.5 million contract. So that's why there's no need to pigeonhole yourself. Your goal in this space is to find the best team and the best player to compete on those contracts. It's all perception. You're just trying to demonstrate to the government that it's not just on you. This is another one of our students' website that she created after she while she was in the program. She created her marketing materials. So now you can see it's not based on her. We're not saying these are their employees. It's just saying this is the team. Contingent upon award of some contracts, we can hire them full time. But you got to at least tell your story in your marketing materials. Does that make sense to everyone? Yes?
Yes.
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 Yes. Miss Paula, do you have to create another website? Because I already have my women owned small business based off of my business that I have now. So do you recommend we have to have another website or maybe another tab for?
You can have another tab because again, like this young man, what he did, he created his website based on his audience, and I like that, right? He's hitting each other because corporate doesn't care about government NAICS codes. So he's targeted to his audience. And again, what you'll see is everybody's doing the same thing. That's why I say we dress you up here in GPI. And it's pretty much the same thing, and it's okay. It's okay, because there's enough money out here for everybody. Was that helpful?
Yes, ma'am, it was. Thank you.
Yes.
This database right here is what we want you to master. This is where everything is held. This is where all your dollars are being spent, your tax dollars. So in here, we teach you how to create a marketing strategy based on these contracts that are ending, and you're not qualified. I mean, that are ending, so you can position yourself before they come out. This is one of our students, my students, when she was in the program, and this was, let me see, let me bring it up. So that you can see how she started winning these contracts. Maybe I shouldn't put confidence, so it's coming. So right here, you're going to see the types of contracts she started out. This one was for a event, the government needed hotel space for 3 days, right? And she got bids from the hotel, and that cost was 48,000. She charged the government 104,000. So she made a $60,000 profit off of these low hits, right? And you can see the total that she was awarded. It was a hit in and out. That's how we started out, finding a meeting space for 3 days at this hotel. If you go down here, you can see only one person responded to this opportunity. Are y'all hearing me?
Yes.
Yes, we are.
Definitely am. Definitely am.
Loud and clear.
This right here was a second contract, right? This was, I think that was, she had one where she was delivering porta potty. What is it? This was landscaping. And it's in Florida, I believe. It was 65,000. Something is going on here. But again, that's why I'm telling you, she's managing the business. These are the low-hanging fruit. One of the contracts she got was in Hawaii to pick up laundry off of the Navy ship. So understanding that, see, this was dry cleaning, right? That's the low-hanging fruit.
So Ms. Paula, quick question. What is her business capabilities, I guess? You just mentioned
Management consulting, project management. That's all we're doing initially. But as you grow, you're going to focus. But in the end, everybody's doing management consulting. This was my old supervisor here. She's now at $600 million. We both started our business at the same time. And again, she's at 600 million. And if you look here, you're going to see we're all doing the same thing. There's no need to reinvent the wheel. Based on that other business I showed you, you can't determine what size business they are. You're just showing a business model with different skill sets that you're going to offer to the government. Does that make sense? Everybody?
It does, thank you.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know we're going over. Hope y'all, if you need to jump off, I understand. But it was important for me to show you these databases. And more importantly, Mr. Meyer, right here, what do y'all see? What's the first thing that you see? Over here to the left. AA sole source contracts, which means these contracts will never, ever be advertised. They don't have to. It's just going to go to the next AA company. Hope y'all catching these gems right here. This database, I use this database rather than sam.gov when I'm looking for opportunities, because sam.gov will have you pulling your head out. This database pulls from sam.gov, but it's structured based on how the government is listing their opportunities. So the first thing that I do is I go to CBD archives, and then it's going to show me the years. And then I go to FBO Daily Archives. And again, it's breaking it down by year. I go to 2023. Then I get to the month of January. And I say, what is the government buying today? And it's going to show you what opportunities are being posted daily from sam.gov. The reason I like this is a little more user-friendly. it's structured based on how the government does its acquisitions. This is a source of sought notice, where they're again looking to determine who's out there first. And so I go through all of these. The parts are equipment, the numbers are industries. And it's going to show you what opportunities in that industry for that day have been posted. And I always go to this particular industry because that's the catch-all. But I also look at the low-hanging fruit. So when I looked at this day and saw this opportunity that was here, you see the government buys everything. There's no need to pigeonhole yourself. Right here, business writing training. I always go back to sam.gov. You're going to see the industry code. And then here, it's going to take you to SAM for that actual opportunity. And so when you look at what they ask them for, it's up in Pennsylvania. This is the industry code. This does not mean it's a $13 million contract. That's the dollar value associated with that industry, making sure that you are still a small business. But when you look at what they really are looking for you to do, it's not that complicated. I'm just going to go through this quickly. Right? So what would you do? And not asking for anything technical. Anybody? What's your first step? Hello? Anybody still out there?
I don't know.
We're
Yeah, I
here.
don't. So my first, to be honest, Ms. Paula, this is Sean. So my first thing, I'm thinking of like, okay, how would I connect the dot to make sure I have someone there? So the first thing I'm thinking about is the who. That's just how my brain works. Okay, who's the who? And then I'm like, okay, then I can figure out, can I act on it or not? Because I guess my perspective, I don't want to apply for something if I don't think I can pull it off. So I'm thinking of my first step, who's the who to go do it.
And I would be looking at a university or some type of even high school. That's basic. They're asking how to write. This is not that complicated. Yeah. Huh? And it's a 5-year contract, right? 3 trainings a year. 1 in person. So this is what I'm saying, how we began to get engaged in this space. Just starting with the low, I would not encourage you to go after a $1 million contract in this space as your first award, because you don't understand how to leverage it. I mean, how to manage that. It starts small, because if you get in and messed up, you now are no longer eligible to compete on contracts. So in my database, I encourage you all to come and listen to the business too. We did a couple of master classes the last 2 days that were off the chain. This young lady right here started the business in 2020. She currently has 15 contracts, and she breaks it down on how she did it. And most of us, we put 1 foot in, 1 foot out. So she explains her time management. My goal is each one teach one. As everyone win their millions, they have to come back and share. In my database, strategically, when I left SBA, I was like, I'm gonna create an SBA on the outside. And that's what I've done. I strategically position this so that we can search from within this database for opportunities. Because now we know, if I'm here in Georgia, I have somebody in California, I said opportunity in California, I can reach out to that person. We don't have to stay pigeonholed, and understand that they now understand the importance of collaboration. We're not trying to get all the money at one time, but collectively, again, if we get one piece of the pie, you eventually will have a whole pie. Okay, so the classes will start next Thursday. We cap it at 25, and currently we only have 11 seats remaining. In the first module, it is an 8 weeks program. I mean, 8 weeks for each module. It's 3 modules. In the first module, even if you've already received, have your LLCs or your S corporation or started, everyone starts at the same place, because I want you to understand what SBA is going to be looking for when you start applying into these programs. Also, the last session, teaching you how to respond to those low-hanging fruits. I created templates from that first business, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. In the second module, it's all about collaboration and teaching you how to work together collectively on delivering deliverables for your business and the team. And then the contract ready module is really all geared around the All Small Mentor Protege program and the 8A, because the All Small Mentor Protege program will put your business on steroids once you identify the right mentor. So we use those databases to help you identify the right mentor. Now you have their juice putting your business on steroids. It is $19.97 per person. If you want to bring in an additional person, we'll allow that additional person costs of $1,000 with a maximum of 2 per team. Again, it will be on a first come, first serve. If you don't make this one, we have another one coming up in March. Joyce Thurman, who just retired from SBA with 42 years of experience, will be leading this cohort. Again, it starts next Thursday from 8 to 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. These are examples of the deliverables and what you should achieve as you complete that first module. Our goal is to dress you up so that you can go to the prom and you're looking like everybody else. So you will have a business model based on your research and that you're doing through our lab and homework assignments that are given each week. This was the team deliverables that as a team, we put you on, and these are the items that you would be responsible for delivering in this module. And actually, I'm updating this. I am making sure that everyone use the business plan as the deliverable for this module, because that business plan is going to let you know how you identify that mentor, what you should be looking for from that mentor. A lot of businesses don't know what they don't know. Again, I encourage you to go back and listen to this webinar she did on Thursday. That's on the business too. And she's going to be teaching the class as well as Attorney Chandler's yesterday. So any questions?
Hi, Ms. Paula.
Hi.
Hi, very good morning. Thank you for all this valuable information. I am an entity of one. Is this payable in installments over a 30-day or 60-day period, or is this money something that we have to pay before we actually start the course?
It's has to pay before, but I'm connected with PayPal. There's a link on PayPal that has a 6-month no interest payment. So if you register through PayPal, you can get the installment plans.
Okay, I appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, anybody else? Questions?
Ms.
Yeah, I have
Paula,
a question, Miss Paula.
Yes.
Do you also teach courses?
I do the office hours from
Okay.
every Tuesday, once people get in. So I participate in the office hours every Tuesday from 6 to 7 to help you to provide additional support. The trainers are all on the lectures, the materials, but what I've done is brought people, and just as I'm teaching you guys, get a good team, people that know more than me, and understand the game, if not better than I do. Businesses that, the trainers, some of them are running companies that have $200 million in contracts. I can't help you get there. I'm still the baby part of it. Attorney Chandler, that's the next phase after, if you choose, complete our program, because she focused right on getting these bids out. We complement each other. She's a technical writer, but she's also an attorney by trade. And what I've seen her do just blew my mind away. But you got to have the foundation, understand the language before you can even talk to her.
Absolutely. Okay, no, that makes sense. Thanks. Yeah, I'm definitely signed up, so I'm looking forward to working with the team.
All right.
one more
Yes.
question. For the January cohort, I do have a friend that's interested in the program, that the cohort for January. I'm already signed up. How full is that class as of today?
We have 11 seats remaining, and we will be, I'm sure, I've been selling out every cohort, so.
Okay, well, I'll get her signed up soon. Thank you.
Okay.
Hey, Ms. Paula, is the class the same time and the same day every week?
Yes, and it's
Okay.
recorded. It really is set up like a university. I say outside the classroom, you should spend at least an hour or two on the lab and homework assignments. And it's recorded. So even if you miss, you can come back. We have breaks. We have midterm exams. We're not playing over here.
And everything is in Eastern time, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? All right, so can I get 3 takeaways before we close out?
Yeah, I think one that I found interesting, like a good strategy. So if you are certified in certain things, like you might be women owned or Black owned, you can partner with someone else who might be like veteran owned, if that's what the contract's looking for. And that way you can work out an agreement between the two of you to still get the work.
Very good, very good. Anybody else?
Make sure your infrastructure is set up.
Please. That's where everybody gets in trouble.
Yeah, for me, the 30% of 8As in Georgia getting business, and all the 8As coming from everywhere else. That was pretty huge. So thank you.
No competition. It's no competition. And I tell businesses, and it's right here. And you saw how much money was coming. It's all in these databases. And nobody is connecting these databases with a strategy because SBA and their resource partners is information based. They'll tell you, you go register in SAM, but nobody's walking you through what that really looks like. Or you need an accounting system. Nobody's telling you how to set up that accounting. So I really created all these templates from that first business. And so people always ask me a question. I know I'm over time, but it's important that you all get this. How much money do you really make on these contracts? This is one of the templates that's provided for those that make it to the 3rd module, because it's like pledging. I keep telling people that you got it. If you're coming in, you have to be serious. This is a contract that I submitted and I came in second on. I passed the technical, and again, you all will get all of that when you get into the program. But so that you'll get a general idea of how this really works. These are positions that we're bidding on those contracts. 1880 in this space is considered, on this type of contract, it is considered full-time. And this is what we're telling the government that we're going to need as it relates to labor and performing on this contract. Then you break it down by the hourly rate, and each year, then everybody gets a raise. And so what I started doing in that first business to lower my overhead expenses, I started adding my time and some of the partners' time into this category. Why your accounting system has to be set up properly, because in this space, the government's going to reimburse you for your employees and whatever benefits that you're giving them. So you need to be able to have your accounting system to track the dollars associated with the benefits. The government knows it costs you to hire employees. And then here is another pool of money where the government's going to pay my salary, the rent, everything that's associated with my overhead expense. I'm going to get a certain percentage reimbursed. The thing that I didn't do in that first business, because I didn't know, I believe when I was at my peak, I should have purchased a building, because SBA has a loan program. It's called the 504 commercial loan that allows you cheapest way to get in the building, 10% down, and SBA and its other entities finance the other 90%. Now I'm letting the contract pay for my real estate in my building. This right here was passed through. You see, I had a subcontractor I was using, and here is another category that the government's going to reimburse me for. You see, I had to travel a lot of people, so I needed a full-time person just processing the travel arrangements. And so their salary would come out of this pool of money. And again, some of the partner salaries would come out of this pool of money. Here is my profit. Once everything is paid, that's what I was making each year. And you get an increase each year. So had I won this contract, I would have made 1.2 million in profit. Was this helpful, y'all?
Very helpful. So your profit, the profit for the company, that's after your salary has been paid, rolled into it as well, correct?
Yeah.
Wow.
This is my take-home pay. This was for grant reviews.
Ms. Paul, I had a question going back to the infrastructure, because my brain is thinking about the different positions and things. So I have accountants that I work with and attorneys. The way I operate, I don't have them like full-time every day on my team working for my company, but they're like my go-to when I need them. So when you get the contracts, do you try to have them like really full-time working for you, or same thing, you kind of
based on the size of contract? And you don't want Joe Accounting doing your books. That's why I partnered with a firm out of Rockville, Maryland. And what I had him to do is teach you all how to set up your QuickBooks account so that it's in compliance with these contracts. So my goal is to teach you to fish. I want you to know it yourself, as opposed to you outsourcing and dependent and held hostage by somebody else because you don't know.
Okay. Gotcha. And then as far as the attorney, what type of attorney did you seek? Does that, I mean, I have different attorneys that I go to because some of them specialize in.
If you go back on the website, listen to Attorney Chandler. She tells you the types of attorneys that you should be looking for. You, because this is such a specialized area, you really need somebody that understands procurement in this space. It's a whole different language.
Gotcha. Thank you.
And a
Miss
lot
Paula,
of,
I'm
yes.
sorry. I was just gonna say, we had a hand raised. I think it's Anais Tech IT,
Analysis,
Anasis, yes.
um,
They had their hand raised. I'm not sure if they had a question.
I think he asked it earlier. You have a question?
Okay,
But, okay.
okay,
All
go
right.
ahead. Sorry about it.
What were you saying, someone? All right. Hopefully, if that's it, you can always, again, reach out, email, but this class will start next Thursday once, and you have to have a Gmail account. We use Google Classroom as our platform where all the resources are handled. And that's it for me, you guys. Unless you have any other questions.
I did have a question. I did have a question, Ms. Paula. So you mentioned another class after the cohort. Do you have any information on that class? I guess I'm just curious. I
Yes,
shouldn't be thinking ahead.
it's called bidding on steroids.
Okay. And
And in 12, in that month, she's having businesses submit 10 opportunities. That's the goal. She's literally, it's all live. Everything that we're doing is live and practical.
okay.
And she's going to come back on next Friday. She felt so good about the webinar we did yesterday, and she didn't cover a lot of the stuff. And the reason I love her is because, again, she's an attorney and she's worked with a lot of the large businesses, oftentimes being the only person that looked like her in those rooms. And she's coming back with guns as well, impacting and sharing.
Nice. So is it part of the program or is it a different class that we need to
It's a
purchase?
different cost associated with that.
Okay.
Okay. But while you're in the program, I do have students that we have 7 cohorts going on right now that are actively submitting their bids. But as I say, you have to get dressed up and understand the language. I don't want you to get into something and you don't have a full understanding of what you're getting into.
Thank you.
All right. Well, with that being said, hopefully you all will join the GPI community and become a part of the family. We're trying to take over here, at least these next 2 years, because we don't know what's going to happen in these 2 years. But right now, the going is good and they friendly towards us. So we want to get into the game. Okay. And Donella, you have your hand raised?
I did. I just was curious about how much was the additional cost for the bidding on steroids, and it's a month-long program.
It is 4 weeks. You meet 3 times a week. And you're identifying opportunities, and she's helping everyone literally walk through submitting bids. I have one young, we're still working on that. What I did last time, I combined the accounting class with the bidding on steroids. That was 2,300. Her class was 1,800.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Let's make 2023 be your year. It's getting ready to be mine. Take it off. So thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
If you want to record and put it in the chat, or we'll send it to you guys afterwards, okay?